Like it happens every time. Okay, we're live.
We'll do well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Growth Talk, episode 30. Here with Holly. Holly, how's it going?
Hello. Episode 30. Wow. When did that happen?
It's been a lot of these, actually. Yeah, this has been going for like 3 years now. Crazy, right?
Wow. It's great what you're doing here. It's pretty cool to get on this and just hang out with people and ask them questions about their personal growth. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's basically it, right? And we're almost done. I think 4 more episodes, I think, and then...
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So, yeah, will you tell us a little bit about your type? Doesn't have to be anything all-encompassing, but when you think of your type, what comes to mind?
I think my type is a bit of a contradiction. I think it can be a little bit confusing for some people because like having the savior play and being D, I can come across as somewhat extroverted. And then for people when they realize that I'm not, and I actually just want to go home and hang out by myself in my living room, that seems a bit weird to some people. I think also like having double activated NF means that I'm sort of aware of the emotional dynamic between people and like how people are feeling to a certain degree, but having FI last, my default mindset or wiring is telling me that I'm not allowed to do anything about it. So I think that's probably the biggest things about my type that make it a bit weird.
Yeah, weird, or as I would say, interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's an easy word.
All right, we have 4 people here, I think, watching. If you're watching this, would you mind just leaving us a comment? Are our audio relatively the same, or is like one of us like way super louder than the other person?
Yeah, that would be good to know. I can't see the chat, by the way. Am I supposed to be able to see it?
Yeah, there isn't anything in the chat. But yeah, you should, like, if you don't have the screen maximized and you click comments on the right, that is where the chat should show.
Okay, cool.
All right, I think maybe the people watching just have it in the background. So okay, so we'll ask again later.
I know Felix is watching or listening.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, Felix, if you're there, how's our audio? Is it matched up, or is one person super loud? Tell us if you know. Maybe I don't have this on the comment. Let me see. No, I think I have it. Yeah, no. Okay.
Are we actually live?
Yes. Yeah. That I can confirm. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, a couple of things that you mentioned. Yeah, being like you have your like, it almost sounds like an extrovert introvert swing that confuses people, right? With like the play, and then then retreating and kind of having your like alone time. But like, has that gotten like, how is reactions or people's reactions to that usually? Do you find that hard to explain to people how you are in that way, or?
Yeah, I do, because I think like most people sort of understand extrovert and introvert only and don't fully know what that means. And so like at work, I'm more talkative, more energetic, because that's how I need to be at work. And so people will see that and they'll go, oh, Holly's extroverted, but I'm actually not. And I can be more extroverted in meetings, but I really prefer to work from home so that I have this sort of alone time where I'm not being bothered by people. So it is difficult to explain. And then, also being blast last, I don't really want to explain what that's like.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I have to explain what introvert, extrovert means. There's ambiverts as well in the middle, and yeah.
It's like there's a lot to explain, right? It's not just like a sentence you can give someone, right? And that's what makes it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned your NF as well, which you said was double activated, so that should be your consume, right? Yeah. I think that for me, NF consume is really interesting because I don't know what it is. Like, I know that.
Fair enough.
I don't know what it does, but you explained like that helps you see like the relationships, I think, between people or something, like the dynamic.
Yeah.
Can you go into more detail with like kind of how that looks like for you? I would be curious.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's actually quite helpful for typing, especially because being able to track someone's NF more so than their words, is really helpful for typing. But yeah, the problem is that, like, so as an example, people in the workplace, I'll be able to tell who has problems with who, because I can just sort of see that if I'm paying attention to it. But I don't feel like I'm allowed to actually step in and do anything or sort of mediate or whatever, because that's just not where my strengths are. So that's kind of what it feels like.
Do you feel like even though you're not allowed, do you feel like there's a pool? They're like, oh, actually, maybe I should do something, but I don't want to because I'm not allowed. Or are you just like, man, I don't care.
I think it's so there's the demon feeling part of me that doesn't want any negativity. So I do want to do something about it, because I just don't want to have to deal with other people being in a negative space. But then, also I have FI, which is normally not responsible for other people's emotions and other people's feelings and moving those. So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that is a superpower. I wish I had that. I have no idea what anyone's relationship with another person is. Well, not like any, but like at my office, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you who likes who doesn't like who. No idea. Like.
But you have the right feeling function though to kind of move people emotionally.
Yeah, that's true. You can do that. I don't know if I can do that, but supposedly we're
you can do that. You can definitely do that.
It's easier for me to see individuals in their state and if they're happy, sad, whatever. But it's harder for me to see dynamics or between people. That's harder. Or what? Maybe it's just something I don't pay attention to. I know NF play is also very good at that. So if you're in that quadrant, that they pay attention to that more. Me, I more see just the individuals, not the relationship. But it would be good because then I just have no idea. And then sometimes, especially being a decider, if when I'm like have conflict with somebody, it feels like I'm the only one who has a conflict with this person, and then I kind of feel alone in that. But if I were paying attention, be like, okay, yeah, they don't like him either. Okay, it's good. I don't feel so weird being the only person that's in conflict.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny you say that, because I know that like having TE, I don't feel like I'm allowed to complain about other people. Like if I don't like someone, I don't feel like I'm allowed to complain about that, because it's it's FI, it's negativity. I'm not allowed to spread that around to other people.
Yeah,
but in the odd occasion that I have done that, and other people have been like, oh yeah, I don't like that person either, I'm like, yeah, it's not just me. And it actually does feel good.
I feel like, do you ever feel like you bond with people based on who you both don't like?
You do. Honestly, like as someone who doesn't have FE, I find it really weird, but at the same time satisfying.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's being a decider too, I think.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
This might be a hard question actually, but what do you like about your type the most? Which might be a hard one to answer because I don't think anyone likes complimenting themselves or their own type. But it's just something you're just like, yeah, this is actually. Or think about someone else that's your type maybe, and be like, I like that about this particular type that this person does.
Yeah, you're right. That is a hard question. I think in general my type is pretty balanced for an OP type, because so you have the double activated FI. And then you also have the play, not sleep last. So we have like a balance between the introvert and extrovert energy. And then I have SI last in my activation order, but second in the grant stack. So SI technically is the worst function for me. But I don't think it's that bad. So I think all around my type is pretty balanced. So I'm quite happy about that. And then I also have the kind of extra introverted energy coming from the social type as well. So yeah.
Which social type were you?
Social type 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes you more on the the OI side, I think, right? That's what they said.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Supposedly more OI, yeah. It's honestly been a bit of a journey trying to figure out how number 3 actually applies when I look at myself and what I'm doing. But yeah, supposedly have a draw to the OI.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. This might be an easier question. What's the thing you least like about your type?
I mean, it definitely has its challenges. I would probably say the demon feeling, having FI last, is probably the hardest. It's created the most problems in my life, just not being able to figure out what I want, what I like, just not asking myself these questions. And yeah, obviously that's where all my tidal waves have come from in the past.
How does one find out what they like? What's your spin on that?
That is a very good question. Well, I think you just have to try things. I think
try
it's
and
really,
then I guess record, right?
Yeah, try it and then make a mental note. Okay, I liked that, or I didn't like that, and that is where I go wrong because I have the double feminine sleep, so I don't remember what I don't like.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but like when you do like it, you are able to like know that, like you're aware of that. It's not like if there's just a blindness to where you just when you
If I'm
experience
paying attention, yeah. But see, that's
Okay.
the problem is if I'm sort of unconscious and I'm just going around in any world all day, I'm not actually paying attention to what I like. So I really have to kind of tune into that.
So it's popping up, but you're not catching it. You're not like really.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, what did that or just your type in general look like when you were young? Could you see some of the same maybe issues you have now, or could you see your type applying to how you were as a kid, or were you completely different? Or yeah, what was that like for you?
So apparently I went on a bit of a journey when I was a kid, and I don't quite know why. When I was quite young, like 3 or 4, mum said I was very extroverted. Like I was very friendly. I think there was just a lot of play. I was very social. I wasn't timid or afraid of anything. And then sort of around the age of 10, I went super introverted for some reason. Don't quite know why. And that lasted a couple of years until I got to high school, and then it sort of evened out again. But I think like I always had a tendency to pay attention to the outside world more than myself. And I know growing up, I always had sort of 1 or 2 best friends. So like the FI latching on to 1 or 2 people, and I do everything with them. They would come over on the weekends and we'd hang out, and I would always feel really sad when they left, which this was something that I was sort of recently processing. So I was going back and processing all of the kind of heavy emotional moments that I had throughout my life, because I thought, okay, if I'm still remembering this and I'm still remembering that I was sad, then I need to do something about this. And a lot of them were times when people would leave, like they would just go home from a long weekend or something, which is really silly. And I just didn't know what to do with myself when I was alone. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my type showed up the most.
Does that feel like a demon FI thing, or what would you how would you label that experience, or like would that relate to your type at all?
Yeah, I would definitely label that as a demon FI problem.
Okay.
Just being attached to a couple of people and just not knowing how to be alone.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Do you still feel like you have that? Like, does that still show up now, or have you kind of grown out of that for the most part? Or
so that was actually part of the biggest growth journey I had to go on, because like that was a reoccurring pattern throughout my entire adult life, right up until a couple of years ago when I was like, okay, something needs to change because I can't keep repeating this same pattern over and over again. So I really forced myself to live alone, be alone, and just really get used to being by myself. And now it's different. Now, like, yes, I live with Felix, but if he goes away or if I go away, it's not a big deal. It's like, yeah, I know that I'm going to be okay. Yeah.
So like, so that was the solution. Then you just like, you know what? I'm gonna force myself to be alone for, whatever. I'm gonna go stay in the Himalayas by myself for 3 years, or I don't know what you did, but that's it though. Right? You just had to be alone for a while, and then
Yeah.
get
It
over it.
kind of feels like the EJ going to hide in the woods sort of thing.
Yeah,
But
but for
I think
different reasons.
I think it depends on like the reason why you're doing it. And I wanted to fix a problem that I had, and I knew that I had to be comfortable being alone and realizing that I wasn't going to die by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds completely ridiculous when I say it out loud, but that's really what it felt like.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least from what I've heard, I think there's somebody else that was TE that said something similar, where she felt like she didn't know who she was without the tribe. When the tribe was gone, there was no like,
Yeah.
my identity's
Yeah.
kind of lost. So in a way, yeah, I could understand how you'd feel that way, where you're like, not
Yeah.
like physically dying off, but like mentally, emotionally, that separation. In a sense, I would think could feel
Yeah.
similar to some kind of
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because like I think when you do your demons, it really feels all or nothing. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like going into the FI, I was like, okay, I'm going to be alone, and what if I'm alone forever? Like, what if this is forever? Like that's really how it feels. It's
Mm-hmm.
silly, but yeah, you kind of have that fear that you're going to get stuck there.
Yeah, yeah, I could imagine that. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. The forever thing as well. Um, like me being SC, that just everything is whatever's right now is just my brain just assume it's like that forever. There's only the moment, right? I mean, not only the moment, but the moment it just is the whole future. So like,
Yeah,
so it's easy for me as well to feel stuck. Like like if I'm in a bad mood, oh, I'm just gonna be in a bad mood forever. Life is horrible, blah blah blah. And then I'm in a good mood. Oh, life is amazing. I'm in a good mood always.
yeah, yeah.
So do you feel like do you relate to that at all? I've always thought that was more of like an SE thing, but
Um, I think only when it comes to my demons. I think that, like
okay.
in general, I don't seem to get stuck on things being permanent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to negative emotions and FI related stuff, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well,
And
hey,
those
congrats.
moments when I have to blast, it feels like it goes forever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else from childhood that came out? How was the blast lasted thing? Oh, the other thing you said actually was sorry, was really interesting. The part where you're like you were very extroverted until like 10, and then you just like flip.
Yeah,
The same thing happened to me actually around
did it.
11, I think, something like that. Yeah, I was just a complete monkey and then I just was like I didn't talk very much. I didn't want to call people. Like I got really nervous, and which I didn't used to be like that. I remember I had to
Yeah.
call like the doctor or something, and I told him I was like, "Mom, I'm too nervous to call the doctor." And I'm like, I'm never nervous like to call somebody, and it just came out of
What's
nowhere.
going
Right?
on?
Yeah, it's funny. It wasn't the same thing.
Did it did it kind of feel like you just suddenly became super self-conscious?
Mm, yeah, I think that was part of it. Yeah, there was some kind of anxiety that was there that was not present before, I would say.
Yeah. I kind of wonder whether, like, at that age, that's when you got like chemicals in your brain
Mhm.
changing, you're going through puberty, and I think maybe that might have something
Yeah,
to do with it.
yeah. I wonder if it's like literally just everyone goes through that. We're talking
It
about it
probably
like,
is
wow,
just
you
for
did
me,
too.
yeah. Yeah, for all these people in the chat going, "Yeah, I relate to that too." Like,
Oh,
okay,
did
well,
they?
that's
Let me check the chat. Okay. Oh, maybe they will. Give them a sec. Okay. Cool. Um, yeah. What did Blast Last look like for you when you were younger? I guess we're all Blast Last to some degree when we were younger, but
Yeah.
how was that?
I honestly don't know if I really noticed it when I was
Mhm.
when I was younger, but I know that it's feedback that I've had like time and time again from people I work with, from bosses.
Yeah, it
Like,
works when it shows up, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you're just under communicating. You're not sharing
Mhm.
information because there's always like this fear I have of like, oh, but I'm oversharing. Like I'm going to annoy people if I share too much
All right.
information.
Yeah.
But that's not true because I actually do the complete opposite and I hold on to information and I don't share it. And people are like, oh, you've had this the whole time and you didn't tell us?
Yeah,
So,
it's like, well, what am I supposed to share? I can't just share everything. I'll be talking to you all day. What do you want to know? I don't know what I need to tell you, you know? It's like,
well, exactly. That's the other thing is you're like, but also don't share everything because then you'll clog up my inbox. I'm like, okay, but what do you want?
yeah. And it's just like, well, I don't have like a template because nobody shares stuff with me either. So I don't even know, like, how am I supposed to know what you want to know? You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think like regardless of whether you have Blast as a savior or as a demon, like communication is one of those things that we just all suck at unless we
Mhm,
really try. Like we've got to really put on the effort.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it probably like being a 3 probably doesn't help either, I would imagine. Doesn't that kind of make you like in a way more like in your hole in a bit and you're not like coming out or communicating as much? I would think that that would affect.
Probably. I just have the assumption, and this is probably the NE as well. I just have the assumption that people already know, so I don't need to tell them.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Or if they don't like already know, they should assume.
Yeah. Put the pieces together, why can't you?
You know, it's like you know, the manager checks on like how far you along with the project. And like, do you not trust me? Like, I'm gonna put it on time. Am I ever not on time? Like, why do you need to know that? It's like, well, it'd be
Yeah.
great if you told me when it needs to be done. It's like it'll get done. Okay, just like, but I get
Uh,
it. You know what I mean? He has to be aware of stuff like that, and
yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah,
like,
and I don't do that because I work as a project manager in part, and I'm actually really bad at following up with people to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be
you're
doing.
blast
I just
last and the
assume,
project manager. Man, that's tough,
hey,
right?
hey, hey, no,
Wow.
nothing's gone wrong, everything's been good. But it unfortunately means that there's a lot of last minute stuff.
Okay. Cool. Man, that
Um,
must be challenging. Blast last as a project manager. That would be my own personal hell. Wow. But
uh,
I guess you get it done. It probably helps you with your blast, I would think, no?
it
It's
it does, it does.
yeah.
It's one of the things that actually led me into OP because
Mhm,
I was working as a project manager for a consultancy. So like time is money. So they like every 15 minutes of your day has to be filled with something, with some kind of blast. And I was
mhm.
really suffering. I was like, I can't do this. Like this is really making me miserable.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a career change because I was like, okay, project management might not be for me. There's something here that does not work, and I don't know what it is, but I also don't know
Mhm.
what I need to turn to because I didn't know what I was good at.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the reasons why I actually went in search of OP to sort of help me figure out why I was having these problems. But I didn't end up making a career change after all. I was like, okay, now I know what it is. I can
Mhm,
work with it. I know my limitations, and I think like in part communicating that to bosses and saying, okay, this is where my weaknesses are, and I'm working on them, but
mhm.
don't expect me to be able to, act like a blaster 24/7.
Right. But yeah, I think it's also nice to have a manager that is last or is not savior blast. Those have all been my favorite managers, right? Because 'Cause they're chill, they kinda leave you alone a bit, and
They
they're
don't
just, you know.
harass you. Yeah.
They're great. I have one manager right now, he's, like, the best manager I've ever had. He's just so chill. He's just, "Yeah, let me know if you need anything." You know, like,
That's
it's great.
good.
It's so nice. Yeah.
Anytime I have to follow someone up for something, like I apologize profusely for it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know you've probably got this, but can you just
Yeah.
let me know if you're on track?
Mhm.
Whereas, like, I think other people I work with who are Savior Blast are just like, where are you at with this? Like, they're just very like
Yeah.
straight to the point.
Right? Yeah, yeah, you're more, like, gentle and nice about it, right? So it's
Yeah.
probably much appreciated and the person doesn't feel like micromanaged or has like the pressure on them, you know, so much. Well, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I just kind of make the assumption that like everyone's busy, everyone knows
Mhm.
what they need to do, and they've just prioritized it as they need to, and that I
Yeah.
don't need to keep harassing them for it unless they're late. But
Mhm.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
until
that's
they're
good
late, I
policy.
just assume they've got it.
Should trust your employees, you know, trust people you work with,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
makes sense. Tell me about some of your tidal waves if you want to share. You don't have to share anything crazy or personal. Do you have some when you were young and you feel like you could pin that on like some function or animal or something like that?
I'm trying to remember specifics. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I probably did have tidal waves when I was younger. I just don't think I really paid too much attention to what they were. I think just the not paying attention to my DI for like a long period of time sort of accumulated. And I think my biggest tidal wave probably when I was 30-ish.
30 or 13?
30.
30.
I mean,
Okay.
I think I had smaller ones before that, just like thinking back to what I was like. But so in my friend group, I was sort of always known as the relationship person because I always had a boyfriend. Like from the age
Okay.
of 16 to right up until 30, I suppose. I was always in a relationship, and I just kind of went from one relationship to the next. And each time I started a new relationship, I would take on the other person's interests, their hobbies, their friends, like essentially their identity. That's where I'd get it from.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when the relationship would end, having feminine identity, I'd just be like, okay, I'm done with that. Cut that identity and then move on to the next one. And so it was like I was constantly changing who I was every few years. And that eventually led to an identity crisis, of course.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. So you just try on all these different hats, and then in theory, like you should have a pretty good idea of what hat you want to wear after trying all these other ones out.
Well,
maybe it doesn't
true. I did get a very good understanding of what I didn't like. But I had no idea what I liked and what I wanted, and I guess what I wanted for the future either. I didn't know what I was looking for, what I valued. Those were all things that were actually missing for me. And the thing is that every time a relationship ended, I'd feel like I could blame the other person for not wanting to be in the relationship anymore, because it's like, oh, I did all these things for you. I changed myself for you. And I didn't like who I am because I've copied you. It's your fault. And then it's like cut and
shit. Yeah. Wow. And they probably, and you being blast last, probably didn't communicate. Well, no, you can't. How do you even communicate that? They probably didn't know that you changed for them either, right? So they're like, wait,
no, I had no idea. And like, to be honest, I was not conscious that that's what I was doing either.
Okay.
And then being blast last, it was really hard to leave a relationship as well. That would get drawn out for way longer than it should have. And yeah. Fortunately, I sort of parted on good terms with most people.
That's good. I think that definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like every time I just felt incredibly guilty because it was like, oh, this is happening again. Oh, like I should have seen this coming. And then I go and do it again with the next relationship.
Yeah. Oof, yeah. And don't we all have that? Our own patterns that we keep falling into. Oh man.
Yeah.
But I guess that is like, I guess something that I've seen with the DEs where they're doing a lot. And so much that I think even the other person doesn't realize everything. And then when something happens or the other person's not really matching that or even getting close, then that's when the hammer comes out. I feel like, right? You're like, all right.
Yeah.
You have no idea all the shit I've been doing. You won't even take out the trash. And like,
and also if you're blast last and you're not communicating that as well,
oh,
then
yeah,
you kind of simmer on it and you let it fester, and then all of a sudden you're like, you've never taken out the trash and you've never done this and you've never done that. That's right, it's over. And then the other person's like,
oh, you just like lay it out on the table and they're like, oh shit. And then probably it's sort of like, oh, she's right. But damn, why didn't she say anything?
Exactly. And I think unfortunately a lot of my previous boyfriends were DI as well. So they weren't seeing what I was doing.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. Yeah. Oh fuck, what was I gonna ask? So what, like you said that you kind of like the tidal wave was at 30. Did you just had a breakup and you were like, okay, I'm seeing the pattern now, I'm gonna change things, or was it more dramatic than that? Or
It was more like, so throughout my life, my mum, who has been officially typed as an IP, would keep saying to me, why can't you be alone? Like, why do you always need to be with someone? Like, you need to spend time by yourself and figure out what you want. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I wouldn't listen. And then I found myself in a relationship that was like completely wrong. Like, even looking back now, I don't even know why I started that in the first place, because I knew it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't going to work. But that was, in my mind, better than being alone. And being in that relationship kind of led me to like, I had really terrible self-esteem. I was in the project management consultancy that was just really super stressful on the work front, and then in the relationship that wasn't going so well either. And I was sort of experiencing anxiety, and I wasn't sleeping, and then I found myself depressed. And like, this took place over the period of maybe 2 years. And then I reached a point where like everything in my life was suffering. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I couldn't even make it to appointments, which was really bad. Like, I'd make these appointments and then I just could not make myself leave the house.
Yeah. That's depression for you.
Yeah. And like, I went to the doctor and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not sleeping. He was like, do you think you're depressed? I was like, no, I don't think so. And he was like, I think you might be. Try this. He did like an online assessment, and I filled it out, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I might be. Yeah. So all that happened, and I was like, I can't keep living like this. Something needs to change. And that was when I was kind of forced to acknowledge the reoccurring patterns that I'd been sort of reliving over and over again. And I was like, if I keep doing this, I'm never going to get out of this. I'm just going to be like Groundhog Day every time I enter a new relationship. And yeah, I think I already said my work was suffering. So I wasn't like, I couldn't even find solace in my work because that was bad as well. So I ended up doing the last thing, and I broke up with the person. I quit my job, and then I went home, and I spent like 2 weeks with my parents, and I just talked out everything that I'd been going through, like everything that was on my mind, things I'd been stuck with. And like, surprisingly, looking back now, it's not surprising, but at the time I was like, oh wow, this is really helping. Like, talking out my problems with my mum really helping me. And so I came back with sort of like a renewed clarity on what I needed to do. And from there, it just gradually got better and better. And so I lived by myself, and I found a new job. This is kind of when I started to look for OP as well, because I was like, I need to understand myself, because at that point I knew that I had no idea what I liked and what I wanted from my life, and that I wasn't going to be happy until I figured that out. And yeah, so I started reading a whole bunch of like self-help books and looking at personality psychology, and that's when I found OP. And so then discovering that I had Demon FI, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were thinking you were TI for a while, weren't we? When you were
I know. I can't believe I thought I was DI.
There's a lot of like the TE blast lasters that look like it. I think look like the TI people. But wow, that's incredible. So you got a whole like, let's just say burn down. Burn down's the right word, but like you just okay, relationship done, work done. Going to my parents, blasting everything I should have blasted out.
Yep.
Probably for a while, and then it helping, and then you just kind of restarting over. Yeah, that's crazy. You definitely had like a caterpillar moment where you just completely liquefy for a while, then you emerge something else, right? Like that's pretty amazing. Okay, maybe that's dramatic, but you know what I'm saying? Like that was a whole major transformation. Wow. So that's crazy. And then you found OP, and then you got into more like self-help stuff. Were you into self-help stuff before that, or not so much?
I had an interest in it, but it didn't play like a huge part in my life. I honestly think that maybe if I had have gotten into it sooner, maybe I would have seen what I was doing, and I might not have got to that point. But you know, Dave and Shannon talk about how people kind of need to go through like their darkest point. They need to hit rock bottom, and that's often when they sort of start to look for help and look to get out. And I kind of think maybe if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have been open to it. So I sort of had to.
Was that kind of your rock bottom moment in your life? Pretty much was that whole?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the biggest rock bottom moment I've had so far, and I really hope it's the last one. I hope it's the last one.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I mean, you can never escape having tidal waves, but I think if you're kind of tracking what triggers you, and like for me, I know I need to blast and I need to do the DI. And as long as I sort of try to balance out the DE and the DI and the blast and the consume, then I should be okay. I mean, I'm still going to have tidal waves, but it shouldn't be anything like what I've experienced in the past.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, like in a way, I think the tidal waves are actually kind of nice. I mean, they're not fun, but like, it is nice to just hit rock bottom. It is nice to just be like, fuck all this shit, you know, and just be like, you know what, fuck, I got to make a change. I love those realization moments where you're just like, you know what I mean? You're up at 4 a.m. on a Sunday with just beer cans all over your desk, and it's just like, where did I go wrong? You know what I mean? That's the best moment. And you're like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna change.
Tomorrow I'm gonna change.
Yeah. And you actually do, because you're like rock bottom. It's not like just whatever. You're just like, you know what? I'm gonna make things better. So it's nice to have that, because like the rubber band stretches back way to the end, and then that little boop moment is great. So
yeah. I don't know, the OE likes to start over again.
Yeah, it's just me being OE, you know. It's just like, I kind of love tragedy, or when things just completely blow up, because it's just like, okay, now you know, like my garden is burned down, but now I can plant whatever I want now. Great, it's gonna be good. So, yeah. With that said, so like, you jumped a major hurdle, had a huge realization there, and started working on stuff. What are you working on like now, as far as like, you know, I would assume blast, FI, all that stuff. Like, what specifically, if you have specifics, like what are the things that you're doing to better yourself now, would you say?
Yeah, so the first thing I did was I had to take like an audit of my values, because I was like, what the hell do I even value? Like, what do I want out of it? Yeah, like it was one of those questions that someone asked me at some point, and I was like, I have no idea. I don't even know where to start. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out what those are. Like, what am I currently doing, and then what do I want to change? So that was the first place I started. And then through that, I met Felix. So for people who don't know, we met through OP. I actually sent him my typing video way back in the day, and along with you, Dave. And yeah, and then we started out as friends, and then sort of developed into a relationship. And we had very similar values. I know this is a very FI thing to say, but we had very similar values, and that's what we connected on. And it's just kind of been like a journey of building on those values that we have. And I think it's difficult, especially for me with Demon Sleep, to remember what the hell do I value. So one of the practices that I sort of had to make like a habit was journaling. So I started with journaling because I was like, I need to kind of process, because having Save and Consume with Demon Blast and Demon Sleep, I'm taking in information, but I'm not actually processing it, and I'm not doing anything with it. And then it just feels like it goes into a void, and it's like I haven't consumed it at all. It's like I need to make sure I have like a practice of taking information and processing it, and trying to get like an NI of the bits that really matter the most to me, the bits that I actually want to implement. And I see Felix doing this all the time, and I'm just like, this is what I need to do more of. So that was something that I had to make sure that I kept doing. It's hard. Like it's really hard to make sure I keep doing that, because I just want to keep moving on to the next thing. But this is why, and I'll talk about this a bit later, that creating practical personality and wanting to blast the things that I've learned has been really important, because I can't communicate this stuff to people if I'm not actually organizing my information.
Yeah, and then it's a good way for you to remember it as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. So for a while I was doing book review videos. So anytime I read a book that I thought was like had quite a big impact on me, I'd do a book review video on it. So I'd have to go through the process of like extracting the information and distilling it down into a couple of main points and then blasting it out on a video. And that was actually really good practice to get into the hang of actually narrowing down on my information.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. That's good. Yeah, it seems like you definitely have. Sometimes I ask this question, people are like, well, I just try to do my demons more and stuff. And I'm like,
It's like, what does that mean?
but you actually have like a system and things you work, so that's really good. Not to diss the other people that have been on the show, but it's always nice to hear. It's like, okay, you got like an actual system, so that's really good.
I just want to say it is like everyone probably knows that it is hard to do your demons. Like you have to do them consistently, almost every day, because otherwise you can just very easily forget. So it's not like
you can feel like you're doing them when you're not. Like you could be aware of them and be like, and then feel like you're working on them, but really you're not.
Yeah. I think you can convince yourself you're doing your demons when you're actually doing your saviors still.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Agree with that 100%. I would like to talk a bit about the dynamic with you and Felix a bit, if that's not too personal. More like in the OP lens of y'all being very different types and kind of how do you see relation dynamics in an OP lens? Like, because I know in the beginning it was more like you should have the same function set, but in reverse order. I think they've kind of gone back on that a bit, but I guess we'll start with that. Like, what are your opinions on how much does your OP type matter when it comes to relationships, do you think?
So I guess through personal experience, I don't know if it really matters too much. Like I know I have a preference with the types that I'm drawn to. I know that much. And I think I honestly think if two people have a growth mindset and they're working on themselves, and it doesn't matter what types they are, you can make it work.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we've been doing, because I mean, I think Felix spoke about this in one of Shan's live shows. We both have masculine thinking at the top. So that means we're automatically leaving a void in the F.
Yeah.
And we have different feeling functions. So he's FE and I'm FI. And that means like when we have a disagreement, he wants to talk it out, whereas I don't want to talk. But what I've come to realize is that, and this is probably the same for like all introverted functions, they don't want to extrovert. That feels wrong.
Yeah.
And so, but by extroverting, you're getting external feedback on either your thinking, your feeling, or whatever other functions you have. And if I'm extroverting my FI, then I can get that feedback from Felix. And it turns out that, we're often just misinterpreting what the other person is saying. And when we take the time to explain, so I explain sort of what I interpreted, and then he can explain it. And then we realize we actually probably meant the same thing, but we were just sort of seeing it from a different end. But by actually communicating, we were able to realize that, it's not, we're actually on the same page and it's not personal at all.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's fine as long as, there's going to be a lot of miscommunications when you have types that aren't.
Oh yeah, of course.
Quite different. But it's like what you said, as long as you have like a growth mindset and you're, willing to learn how each other works and to understand. And probably knowing OP probably helps as well. Just knowing that you already are going to miscommunicate, that you're going to come from two different standpoints. And I think kind of expect that helps to not take things so personal sometimes, I would think.
Yeah.
And then kind of, give benefit of the doubt. Again, this feels super personal. Please stop me. I don't want to pry into
No, go for it.
But I am really curious of like, what's like the biggest hangups y'all have? Like, and you can just say it more abstractly, like, well, I've, want to TE something, but Felix wants to go think about it on his own, or like, what would you say?
I think the biggest thing that we've found, and we've only found this recently through working together actually, is blast last, and that we're just both not communicating with each other. So like as an example, we put together this website, and I was at home, so we'd sent the website out to a few people and got them to check it out and make sure that it was all okay and if there were any changes. And there were some changes that we needed to make. And so in the evening, I had the website up on my screen, and I was making changes, not saving them, but just making changes, because the way that my brain works is I need to start doing it to figure out what it needs to look like. I can't have an idea and then make it happen. Most of the time, I kind of need to figure it out as I go. Yeah. And so that's what I was doing with this website. And I didn't tell Felix what I was doing. I just, in my mind, assumed that he knew that I was going to be making some changes to the website. And so I didn't actually communicate that. And then he came home and I was like, oh, can I just show you what I've done? And I showed him all of these changes. And he was like, that's a lot.
Whoa.
He was really overwhelmed. Oh, yeah. And his reaction was like, it's too much. I don't like any of it. And
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so then of course I felt like he was being controlling because he didn't like any of the changes. And I was like, well, some changes need to be made. We need to do something. Like, what do you think of these? So this was like a little miscommunication that we had, and fortunately we figured it out. But the conclusion we came to was that we need to blast more, that we need to communicate more to kind of avoid these. Like, had I said to him, hey, I'm just going to be messing around with the website and I'll show you once I'm done, but you also don't have to, don't feel like you have to like any of them. And then that would prepare him for it, because also he's save your sleep as well. And to be fair, like, we were coming to the end of the project and I was opening it up for more stuff. And he was like, no, we should be narrowing down, not opening it up for more changes.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, there was also an OE kind of OI difference there as well.
Sure. Yeah, probably like a lot of good comes out of that, I would imagine, because like they're I guess working on a project, sometimes it does just lend itself to like doing stuff until something sticks, right? And then probably in some areas it's better we think, we like kind of sleep process stuff first, or we like know what we're doing first before we go into it. And then coming up with the system that works, for both of you all and everything. Probably been like a really huge growth experience, I would think, because you're like, you have your way of doing it, Felix has his, and you're both kind of learning from each other your different ways of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've actually learned, I wouldn't say more, but we've learned a lot about each other just through working together over the last 6 months or so. Because we're seeing each other in sort of different realms, I suppose, because like, I know, so my approach is I'm not too particular on how things look. Like, don't give me something if you want it polished or if you want the finishing touches, because I'm not paying attention to that. Whereas Felix is really good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with the SE sometimes. Yeah, I think we're all kind of like that. We're all very like, it has to be just right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do that, but yeah.
No, it's really good to have. But we just need to make sure that we kind of have our roles and it plays to our strengths. So I'm better off at the start of projects, and then he's sort of better off at the end, and focus on the end result.
Okay, it's good. You got like the yin and the yang there.
We do.
Somehow, like, I don't know, somehow working together with a partner feels really brave. Like, I don't know, there's something very vulnerable about doing that. I don't know if I could actually,
I was actually wondering about this, because I asked Felix, like, as a TI, how do you feel about working with your partner? So how would it feel for you? Would you, I mean, I know you just said that.
I think I would hate it. I think think I'd
Yeah.
fucking hate it. Yeah, depending on what it was, right? Like it has to be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just in general just not good at working with people. I might be like a 4 or 3 or something myself. I'm just like, man, I don't know, like, and then the drama that would come from that, I feel like, because I know how much of a stubborn asshole I can be with what I'm working on. I don't know. I guess it depends. If we have our separate lanes, then it's probably fine and it's probably nice. But if we're both working on the same website, ooh, that's not going to go well. I think just with my SE, like we can't use those colors. Like this is horrible. No, it's like, can you make this slightly this way where it's no, not like that. Like what more up?
Yeah.
No, just I'll do it. Just let me do it. Like that sort of thing. That would be me the whole time. It would be unbearable for the other person. I think it would be.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not chill when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, it would be tough, I think.
There's definitely a bit of that going on, and I think David and Shan, I've mentioned this a couple of times, having person A, person B on a project, and like knowing that person A is responsible for the project and the end result, and then person B is just the support person, because otherwise, I think we would probably possibly fight about everything, about the language that is used, the colors, the whatever. So yeah.
You know what? Like the adage goes that if you want to see if you and a partner are really right together, go travel somewhere in like a third world country or under really crazy circumstances and see if you don't hate each other. I think this is even better, actually. I think working together, I think that's even more crazy than going to Africa together. Honestly, if y'all can get through that, then I think y'all are good. I mean, you can get through that, especially with with how TI can be sometimes. Like y'all are good to go. Y'all can pull that off. That's a good test right there. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So do you want to talk about the website a bit, or like maybe we should wait for the very end, because we'll make it stick out. But that's cool, y'all are doing that together, and it looks like it's out now, and so congratulations on that. But yeah, we'll do a spiel about it at the end there. But yeah, that's super cool. So so y'all met through OP. Did you come visit him in Germany, or did he go to visit you in New Zealand, or did y'all do both, or how did that kind of?
Yeah, so we met during COVID, which meant that like for the first half of our relationship.
Oh, y'all met during COVID.
Yeah, we had to do long distance. Yeah, we couldn't see each other in person.
Okay.
So I think that was really good for kind of forcing us to really get to know each other as people, because we had to talk a lot. Like,
true. Yeah.
Sometimes we talked for like 8 hours plus. Just I didn't even realize that I could talk
8 hours plus. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, it's not easy to talk 8 hours plus with even people I like, man. 8 hours plus. That's impressive. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like that was like a big sign. Like if I can talk to someone for 8 hours, then okay, maybe this
exactly.
is
Yeah, and a big sign for Felix as well, because he's saving sleep. So I was impressed that he was able to keep up for 8 hours.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Very cool. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, we met online during the pandemic. Europe opened up before New Zealand did. So New Zealand had its borders shut, I think, up until February last year. So no one could come in, no one could go out, which was super frustrating. So we'd kind of decided that whoever was able to leave first would make it work and would be together in the same place to meet each other in person. And it just so happened that I was able to leave New Zealand before he was able to come here. So I went to Germany to meet him, and I stayed there for 3 weeks, met some of the OP people, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
I'd never been to Germany before as well, so that was an awesome experience.
Wow, what an amazing trip. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah. It was winter as well, which was cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
We do not really have winter in New Zealand. Like
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Like it's winter at the moment, and we had a tiny bit of snow a couple of weeks ago, and then the week later we had 18 degrees. So it's quite confusing.
Man, that's so cool though. Like you're flying out to the guy you've known for a while now, and you're probably so excited to meet this dude. And you're going to Germany for 3 weeks. That must have been.
It was really cool. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's really cool. Does he have you learning German now? Are you learning to speak his language?
I'm very slowly learning German.
Okay.
I mean, you probably know what this is like. Learning German is
Oh yeah, I know all about that. Yeah, it's horrible.
not easy. There are a lot of noises. I'm just like, I can't even make that sound with my mouth. Like, how am I going to make that sound?
Oh, they're not too bad. You get used to them. Some of them, yeah, like it's difficult, but it's definitely worse with other languages. Trust me. Like we got it easy with German. It's not too bad,
True.
but you'll get there. Yeah, just
Yeah.
takes practice. Yeah, cool.
But
All right.
being blast last, I wasn't actually speaking. Like just
Okay.
passively learning on Duolingo and not actually speaking the language. So I haven't really learned that much.
You just gotta just little blasts here and there. Just just be like a child and just be like, "Hey Felix, der Stuhl," and just point at the chair or something. Like, "Hey Felix, wie geht's dir?" Just whatever you can say. But then you get used to it and it gets in your brain.
Yeah, true. We
Play
actually
energy
had
it out.
Felix came over with a label maker and
Oh, you
he
told me about
labeled
that. Yeah.
in German
Oh,
in
that's
the
cool.
house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are y'all planning on visiting Germany anytime soon, or what's the?
We would like to. So Felix's parents are coming over to visit us in February next year. So they've never been to New Zealand, and his father has always wanted to visit. Like I think he's had it on his bucket list for like 10 years, and so they finally have a reason to come over here. So we're helping them plan at the moment.
Nice.
But yeah, that'll be really exciting. They're going to stay for 6 weeks, and we'll just show them around as much as we can. But yeah, then the next visit would be Europe. So
Do another OP meetup.
That would be really cool. Yeah, Felix was really sad that he's been missing out on all of the OP meetups that have been happening.
Yeah. We'll have to set one up. Yeah. Let us know when you got something going, and we've been having quite a few this year, so we can do another one. It'd be super fun.
How was the Berlin one, by the way?
Berlin was good. It somehow happened.
It somehow happened. Who was arranging that?
People came. I don't know. I was surprised, but a good amount of people came. We went to the park. Went to like a Bavarian style brewery and walked around and stuff on Sunday. It was super cool. Everyone got along well. There's no drama, unfortunately. It's kind of nice when there's drama, but this was drama free.
Okay.
And I think everyone had fun for the most part. I think it was good. So yeah. And got to meet Alex. So this is Felix's type twin.
Oh yes.
And he's also German. Yeah, super cool guy. Yeah, we got along really well. It was nice.
Yeah, Felix wished he could have been there.
Yeah, I wished that too. Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah, I haven't met Felix in real life yet, so it would be nice. All right, so I think we've gotten through most stuff. And I haven't looked at any of the comments, guys. But I'm going to look if y'all got some questions. If you got some questions, go ahead and start thinking them up. Holly, the last and most important question is, you already know.
I do know.
Yeah. What is your last function's spirit animal?
Yeah, I was thinking about this over the weekend because it's kind of it's an unusual but really cool question. So I really like Pokemon. I'm a huge Pokemon fan.
Oh, me too. Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I think that my spirit animal is probably a Pikachu.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. When the FI finally Pikachu, like the electricity comes out.
Yeah. So the reason for that is so if you follow the anime, so Pikachu is like this cute, kind of sassy, I think quite social little mouse, electric mouse, and it has this kind of extreme attachment to the main character, Ash, and I kind of see that as like how the FIs can get attached to specific people and things. But then when it gets mad, it shocks you. In kind of like I think a cute way, not really a threatening way. Yeah.
That's really good. I feel like that fits perfectly. Yeah, with how you've explained it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right, we haven't had a Pokemon character yet for spirit animal, but I would say that Oh, I should have changed it. No, I was gonna say we should always do Pokemon, but not everyone fucks with Pokemon. But yeah, I really like that one. That's really good. Okay, so demon, feminine, fi last is
like
the
a Pikachu. Yeah.
I like how in the beginning in the anime, or I think this is a long time since I've seen it, where like the Pikachu doesn't give a fuck about Ash, right? He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
And then Ash
don't.
like kind of shows, that does the TE and all that stuff, and then the Pikachu's kind of like the
Yeah.
like I guess it's kind of how FI works, right?
I think for like the first like 5 or something episodes, Ash has to wear rubber gloves because Pikachu
that's right. Yeah, because you're shocking him.
Yeah.
And then they had the thing in the rain, right? Weren't they in the rain and he had to like protect Pikachu or something like that? From birds. There were birds coming down, I think. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to anyone who's listening and doesn't like Pokemon.
Yeah, well, this is our show, so it's okay. All right. Yeah, okay. So if anyone has questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm gonna be right back in like a couple minutes. Holly, if you need a bathroom break, it's totally fine. I got some questions actually from people outside of the chat that was curious too, if I could ask those. And then, yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll be back like 3-minute break here. Yeah, is that okay?
I'll time you.
Yep. Okay, please do.
Felix, I don't know what that says in German.
All right, I'm back. Okay, let's take a look at the chat. All right. Hello. What's up, man?
Hello.
And I would assume this is Felix, or you're saying hi to yourself. Probably not.
Yeah, no, it's not me.
Jana, what's going on? And Alexa, I think.
Yeah. Hey, Alexa.
And we have any other. I think Prim didn't say hi, but I'm going to say hi to you anyway. What's up, Prim? Good to see you, my man. Okay, let's see. Question. Nate. What's up, Nate? Okay, first question is, does the blast last cause problems getting started or planning?
Both.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it. I don't know if this is probably more so because I have Demon SI as well as Blast Last, but I find it probably the hardest getting started, and then organizing my shit as I'm going is also really hard. So this is something that we've been really having to do when we started Practical Personality, is create like SOPs for all of our processes that we have. So actually writing out how we're doing things, but also, like the planning of the website and all that kind of stuff, has been really hard for me to do. So it's a bit of both. It's a bit of starting and organizing as I'm going. It's just all hard. Hope that answered the question.
Nice. I think so. Yeah. There's another one from Andrew. Do you find it difficult to think of questions in nice.
Yes.
Wait, is that a question for the audience? Is that a question for me? Is it Andrew, you stumped us, man. Yeah, it is difficult thinking of questions for me because like I'm DI and blast last. But Holly, you're like good at questions, right? You can just think of questions pretty easily, I think. Being
Oh.
DE.
Well, the problem is that I can't find questions. It's kind of like when someone goes, think of a question, my brain goes, oh, I've got lots of questions, but none of them are related.
Oh,
That's
interesting. That also feels inny in a way, right? Like
it is. It's like, okay, no, I can't ask that because that's completely unrelated. That's going to confuse the person. And then it's like trying to sift through all the stuff that, doesn't connect, wouldn't connect for someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Prim, my man, we are going to get to that. We'll leave it for at the end here. Okay, so I have some other questions from Discord. Okay, how do I phrase this? So you have SF last, right? What are the SF issues looking like for you? What problems do you have in the SF realm?
I've got ST last. But SF is still a demon.
Wait. Okay, those are your demons, but
yeah,
the blacks is because you're glass lizard and you're okay.
Yeah. So I can talk about both because both can be kind of problematic. So SF, so I have SI and FI, so they're both introverted SF, and it kind of makes me weird about specific sensory. And like growing up, I always thought that what is popular in the SF was always really weird, and I either didn't understand it, didn't like it, or there were some parts that I liked, but then at the same time I was like, oh, but I don't want to like it because everyone else does. So SF sleep kind of wants to be unique in a way, like in a really weird way. If that makes sense. Because people who have
it's like knowing what you like, and then but you also can't like what other people like. So it's kind of like
it feels weird to like what other people like. So as an example, the Barbie movie. So that was apparently super popular. Everyone liked it, and I haven't seen it. And there was a part of me that was like, I don't want to watch it because everyone else is watching it. I want to wait until it's no longer popular, and then I'll see it.
Okay. Oh, you sound like an IP now somehow.
know, right?
Okay.
So that's how introverted SF is weird. And then the ST blast. So because I have blast last and it's ST, I'm super concerned about making sense. And so when I'm communicating, like I'm super paranoid that whatever I'm saying is not making sense to the other person. And it can be really annoying when I'm writing, especially because it feels all or nothing with the communication. So I'll write out like this sort of big long paragraph of what I want to say, and then I agonize over does it flow? Does it have the right amount of sensory? Does it make sense? Will someone know what I'm talking about? And then if I can't get that balance right, I just throw it all out, and it's like, I'm not there. So there's like a level of perfection that I have to have with the ST that just seems completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, does it hurt when you mess it up and somebody doesn't understand? Is there like a sort of like insecurity there, or does that dig deep? Or
there is a huge insecurity there. Yeah, so that's why practicing the blast with our project that we've got going is, I think, going to be super helpful. It's going to be a huge growth opportunity. Yeah,
it's not too different than Save Your ST, I think. And there's also like a big focus on having everything that a person says or writes just to be as clear as possible. You know what I mean? And even for me being ST first, like you have to put way stupid amount of time into it, and also will not accept something that's not clear. Like I won't put something up that's not. So it's not that different, really. I just like, I guess maybe if something's not clear, and it turns out that way, then probably our reaction will be different. But other than that, I think we're both probably still going to focus on it. Still going to put way too much time into it.
Yeah. So would you have an easier time just going, I missed something, it's fine, move on?
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't ST it, well, it depends. So like if I didn't ST something very well, it's like, yeah, fair enough. Okay, let me do it. So it's more clear, right? If it was already clear, and I know it is, then bro, that's on you. I can't put this any clearer than this. You know what I mean? I have a sense that's clear enough to where like I can kind of evaluate it on my own and be like, this is actually super clear. So there's, I mean, I don't know what to do.
So you're the problem.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it is just like, well, I don't get this. You don't get this because of your brain, not because of whatever.
Sometimes you just can't help other people understand.
Right. But there is a lot of times where it's like, yeah, this part, whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm referencing stuff that they don't have any reference for, or something like that, right? Or things like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, fair. So yeah, no, it doesn't really affect me like that much. I think that's the only difference between saviors and demons. It's not even performance or being good. It's just, are you okay with fucking it up? You know?
Yeah. I guess that makes sense with your saviors, right? It's kind of easier to accept negativity when it comes to your saviors, and you don't tend to hold on to it.
Yeah, can fuck up the SF and the ST all day. That's totally fine. I don't. Yeah, I have no problem, recommending like, hey, I know this movie, you're gonna like this movie, or this, I'm gonna order you this food, knowing that you're gonna like. Well, I'll fuck that up all day, but I also have confidence I can get it right. But I'm also like, I don't care if I mess it up. But now NT and NF is completely different, right? But
yeah, I mean that's how I feel about guessing, like guessing what people are thinking or feeling, that or what's going to happen in a movie. Like I'm
y'all are the
fine doing that
because y'all will already have the movie guessed out, and then you'll spoil the whole thing for my SE dumbass that doesn't even know what the movie is either. It's like, yeah, this is gonna happen. This blah blah blah. I'm like,
yeah, I can honestly see how that's annoying. I try not to say anything, but sometimes I just let it slip, and I'm like, sorry, Felix.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think. I feel like I don't know. Like my experience with any people is that they need to watch like really subtle, confusing ass movies for them to enjoy it. Because if they can guess the plot already, which they can for 90% of the movies, and then for everyone else, the movies they're watching that any person likes, you're like, the fuck are we watching right now? You know what I mean? It's just, what is this movie?
Oh, I wonder if Felix feels that way about the movies that I like.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe ask him like, yeah, what do y'all feel like you have commonalities on movies and things like that, or do you both kind of like the opposite?
Do, yeah. So there have been a few movies and TV, actually mostly TV shows, but they're more decider shows, and they're not necessarily weird. It's just kind of like seeing people going on like the hero's journey. Like those are the kinds of things.
Oh, okay. Because so you have like similar things that you value, but like style wise, the movie doesn't matter, or
doesn't seem to. I don't like super old movies. Like Felix can watch black and white things.
Oh, I can't do that either.
White things.
It just weirds me the fuck out. It's like, where's the color? I can't watch this. It's in a real movie.
Yeah, exactly. And like really like super old horror movies where like they've tried to do CGI, but it's just
it takes you out of it, right? Like, like I can see the ropes that are hanging this ghost up. That's in
exactly that kind of thing. Like, don't buy
it. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that's cool. You'll still have your so y'all like the same type of movies. And do y'all watch like dating shows or like those type of?
We do, yeah. Like so through so through an OP perspective, it's actually super fun to watch. Yeah.
Like pause it and analyze it. It's like, oh, do you see what they did there? That
like what type do you think this
person? Oh, this person's totally an IJ, or
Yes, that is the kind of thing. It's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. I love that too. It's super fun, especially with somebody, because then you analyze it together and you kind of like yeah. That's super cool. Okay. Nice. Oh yeah, there was a couple more.
Oh, Felix is talking about old movies in the chat.
Is he?
Casablanca.
Citizen
No,
Kane. Okay.
I don't want to watch.
Maybe he's just like one of these people that just has a very good. He's like a movie buff where he can appreciate
Yeah.
the old good movies and stuff. I'm just not able to do that, unfortunately. But okay, there's quite a few questions here. I'm just going to ask you one from this thing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, what does NT play look like in your relationship? So it's like NT play is the opposite of like the beta quadrus sleep. And so I would imagine it's super aggravating for someone that's NT sleep. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What has that been like? NT play in your relationship?
Yeah, so I know one of the Q&As, or maybe it was one of the classes, Dave was talking about how he sends memes to Shan. So being a number 2, he's more extroverted, and he kind of refers to himself as like the bird that's like touching her all the time, like trying to get attention out of her.
Mm-hmm.
And it really feels like that's what NT play is like to Felix's NT sleep. Like I'm constantly going, hey Felix, what do you think of this? What about this? How would this work? How should we do this? And
Felix just like, no.
A lot of the time, like so we go on walks together quite a bit, which is really good. So there's like places around where we live where we can walk, and when we're both working at home together on the same day, we'll go for walks, and we just kind of talk things out while we're walking. And often he will talk things out that he's been sort of sleep processing, but then it gives me an opportunity to do the play with him because I haven't already been processing it. So he's like, hey, here's this thing that I've been thinking about. What do you think about this? And then I can kind of throw the play out there. So that kind of works, but I can see how it's annoying for him, especially if I'm asking him things he hasn't already considered.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it work like, what about the opposite? What about, so he's SF play and you're SF sleep. Is there like some kind of a dynamic there?
I find that he's often asking me questions that he's sleep processed. So, and a lot of the times it's kind of things about myself that I haven't even thought of, and that can be a little bit jarring. Like he'll ask me the question, I'll be like, "What? Hold on, I haven't even thought of this." But it's good because it makes me actually consider these things. He kind of, in a way, forces me to do the sleep processing.
Okay. Are they like questions like, "Oh, do you like this sort of thing?" or "How do you feel about that?" or
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, SF play, and you're like, well, wait a second, I don't know if I do or not. You have to think about it, I guess, right?
Yeah, okay. And there's also like a kind of a weird element to the SF being introverted of, don't judge me for whatever I'm about to tell you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If I tell you my SF, don't judge me.
Yeah, which is weird for SF plays. It's like, wait, you just, but everyone likes that's the judge,
Yeah, it is really weird. And I totally get that it's weird. Like, what else are you supposed to connect on?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for us, it feels like SF is the connector, but maybe it's not for everyone. I don't know how that works, but
I guess it depends on what your SF functions are, but usually your extroverted functions are the ones you connect on.
Yeah, that's usually where all my questions come from. It's like, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? How does this make you feel? Like, just the easiest source of questions. But I guess that makes sense if it's your play animal, I think,
Yeah. Have you come across that, like in the wild, where you've asked someone, hey, what do you think of this? Or like, do you like this? And they look stumped?
Yeah, that happens. I can't think of any specific memories, but yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, that's definitely happened where it's like, usually it's just like, I usually don't ask people what they think about stuff. I just never ask that. But like stuff, yeah. How do you like that? Or how'd you make that one that actually does stump a lot of people. If you ask somebody how did that make them feel, they're like, oh. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess you felt sad, right? And they're like, oh well, yeah, yeah, I guess so. And you felt anxious, like you know what I mean? You kind of do that.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
I
people
can
aren't big fans of. Yeah, I think that's
I could
and
see how someone who didn't have FE would be like, I don't know. I don't
yikes,
know
like
how I feel.
probably a little more complicated than sad, anxious, you know. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I can relate to that on the other side. It's like, and you were thinking this, and you thought this about the world. It's like, I never want to talk to you again.
Oh gosh. I'm probably doing that to people. Probably people I
I
work
mean, this is very. I'm sure it's not that bad. I'm sure I'm exaggerating it for comedy, but yeah. Um,
Yeah. There are some people I work with who I'm pretty sure it's CVTI, and I've learned that like just through watching their reactions and meetings with other people that you cannot ask them, put them on the spot and ask them a technical question or like what they think about something, because they just, which totally makes sense, but they just shut down and they don't know how to answer the question and they kind of talk in circles and get really uncomfortable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that for sure. I think it's like if it's something, at least for me, if it's something I haven't slept on, then it's like just no go. I just instantly am like, oh, I have to think hard about that in the moment. It's gonna be weird. It's like, oh, I don't know. Like to say, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't give the
And then
best answer if it's in the
yeah,
moment you're already
yeah,
processing.
because I'll just end up just saying random stuff and it won't really make sense. And I just like, whatever.
Mm.
So like, yeah, I have to have thought about it first. And that can be really hard working in IT. And if you have like the clients are like, we have this problem, and I'm like on the phone with them, and it's like, oh God, I got to figure this out in front of them right now. And I'm just
Yeah,
really bad at that. I just can't do it. I'm just like, what did you try? Uh, did you try turning it off and on again? I don't know. Like, it's like
I mean, that
that's
often works, right?
it does, but it makes the other person insinuate that they're kind of stupid, right? It's just like, of course I've turned it off and on again. I'm also,
Like, have you really just try it again and then call me back?
yeah.
And
Is Java installed? Yeah, I've been programming with it. What? Like, what is that? Like, I
yeah,
don't know, man. You're on your own. It's like send me your entire source code and then let's not talk anymore, and then I'll figure it out and I'll tell you. But I can't do this here. you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I can't like I have to go inward to think about a thing. And if
yeah,
you're there, it's hard. You're in the way of me going inward in a way. Like, this is a person over there. And it's like, and they're waiting
yeah.
on
That,
me. I
that
can't
makes
do
sense.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's why if I've ever got a technical question, I usually email the service desk with the question, so that gives them time to think about it. Because I'm
mhm.
just, I don't know, just assuming that a lot of them need time to think about it and figure out what might be happening before they call me up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That totally helps. Yeah, I just got out of that part of IT completely. Just like I don't ever want to do this. Um,
What are you doing
yeah.
now?
So now I'm teaching. So I'm teaching IT
Oh,
stuff.
what's
So
that
like
like?
it's good actually. It was very scary in the beginning,
Yeah.
like meltdown scary. I think just having to control a classroom online,
Yeah.
bunch of other software engineers, and I have to tell them stuff. And it's like, the fuck do I know? So
Yeah.
that was really crazy, but it actually turned out really good, and it's actually a really good fit. So
Cool.
yeah, it's nice, and I feel very comfortable in the class now. I still don't feel like I know that much, but for me, the classes are more just like making sure everyone's having a good time as much as you can for a course.
Yeah.
So that part I feel comfortable with, and so
Yep.
so I've kind of made it my own in a way, and it's been good. And then the rest of my time is I just make instructional videos for like the software and stuff, which is nice because you have time to research it and plan everything out, and and make something.
So you are
So
getting
yeah,
to
it's been
use
good.
your class. That's cool.
Um, yeah, it's surprisingly worked out. But I think it was a similar thing for you, where it's like I only took the job because of OP. And it was
Mm.
like, oh, I have a job where I have to blast. And like a year prior to that, before I even knew about OP, I might have just been like, but I don't do that. It's not really my thing. I
Yeah.
can't really, it's not
Yep.
really worth getting good at because I hate it.
Yep.
But OP pushed me through it, and yeah, now I have a much better job than being a software engineer and all that stuff. I hated that, so worked out.
Yeah, it's funny how without OP, like your brain wants to run away from anything that is hard because you just assume that you shouldn't do it if it makes you uncomfortable or if it's a challenge.
If it's like things can be hard if it's your path that you're going down. You know what I mean? But like if there's other stuff, the other paths, it's like, yeah, I don't want that path, so I'm not going to put effort into it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have thought like a job would like this would improve like who I am as a person. I thought it would just be something, a big pain in the ass I'd have to figure out for what, when I could do something else. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like I know like a lot of people who are introverts, might look at it and go, I shouldn't do something extroverted because I'm an introvert, and
exactly.
This is who I am, and doing something extroverted would be going against who I am. But having the knowledge of OP, you can see like what does that actually mean, and why would you need to do something more extroverted? What would that actually do for you?
Yeah, and you don't know that it does something for you, right? You just assume that like it's just going to be square peg in a round hole, which in some cases things can be like that, right? Yeah, but I think, but yeah, it's you can view things more as a growth opportunity with OP, which is something that's I think really nice about it. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we are towards the end, unless something else you want to talk about.
Not specifically. Not unless there's anything you've got.
Well, I thought we would just end it with if you could tell everyone about the new project, the new business.
Yes, practical personality that I keep mentioning, but haven't actually told.
Haven't gotten to it.
Every time I said it, I was like, oh no, I'm probably confusing people because I haven't talked about it yet. So the project Felix and I have been working on for the last few months is practical personality. So we noticed that there was sort of a gap in how to actually apply objective personality. And so when you get your type back, what does that mean for you personally? What do you need to do with it? And Felix and I have kind of gone on this journey where we've been learning how to get ourselves unstuck from our lives and the sort of certain tools that we've been using that have been helping us. So we want to be able to share that with the community to help them out, so sort of share what we've learned. So in the coming months, we're going to be offering a typing service. At the moment, it's just going to be a blog where we're going to share sort of regular posts on things that we've been learning about. We've got an 8-part intro series for OP. So that just goes through all of the main parts of the system. We kind of break it down, but we've tried to keep it sort of as simple as possible for anyone who's new. So it's kind of designed for people who are not familiar with the system. So like my mum got typed over a year ago and she knew nothing about the system. And I was like, okay, she's got this 4-letter code that doesn't mean anything to her. So how do I explain to her what that means? And that's when it would have been great to have an intro series to send her. So that's where we're starting with. So there's going to be 8 of those. One's already out at the moment. And the next couple of weeks we'll have the other 7, and then we'll just be regularly posting about sort of other personal growth through the OP lens stuff. So that's it.
That's a great idea. Yeah, it serves as like an OP companion and definitely fills a void there actually when people try to get into this stuff. Where do you find like the intros? So where do you find the condensed stuff? You just have all these crazy videos that already assume you know everything. And so now you'll have that. Yeah, go ahead.
They do have the ebook now on the new website, which is great.
Oh, there's an ebook.
So when Dave and Shan updated their website, they put an ebook on there. It's pretty cool. I think Dave wrote most of it. So that's really good. But the problem is you have to subscribe to their website. So our stuff is free for people.
Oh, nice. Okay, it is free. And then you also get information on what to do with your type after you get it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So what does it mean, and then what do you do with it? Because assuming that most people come to get typed because they're feeling stuck in some way and they want help.
Okay. Yeah, I might send my friend over to your way actually. So she just got typed, or she just submitted her typing thing.
Yeah.
And I think she is kind of aware of it through me, but it would be good for her to have kind of an intro thing. So yeah, I might just send your website over to her so she can get.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that would be good. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, sounds great. Everyone, there should be a link in the description, but I'm going to go ahead and just verify that so I don't lie to anyone here.
Make sure it works.
I think, oh, well, this is different. Oh, that's
does it work?
Ah, great. It's in there.
Awesome.
Oh, it doesn't work. Let me click on it, actually. Let's make sure that it's...
I hope it does.
I see bubbles. We're good. Yeah.
Ooh,
and
okay.
Oh, the red pill and the blue. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's all working.
Yeah, if anyone wants to know, the images were my SF.
Nice. Okay.
That's why they have a certain style.
Cool.
They used Midjourney for it, which was very interesting.
Got to have your aesthetic going for your own website. Makes sense. You know. Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks everyone for coming. Holly, thank you so much for coming on. I know we've been planning this for a long time. I'm glad it finally worked out. I'm glad we could also...
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. It was super fun. So, all right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night, day, morning, wherever you're at. And we'll see you for episode 31 at some point. All right.
Nice.
Take it easy.
Bye.